All right, and if somebody could volunteer to type the names of the mushrooms that we're talking about in the chat, it would help for us to be able to share. So, okay, so why don't we start out with the people that want to share from their computers first. Looks like Lauren was the first one, and then Mintari. So go ahead, Lauren, let's see what you have.
Hi.
Hi, Lauren.
All right, I feel like I've shown this before. I feel like maybe we've discussed this before, but I can't recall what this is. Can you see that?
It looks like it's wanting to load.
It seems like the same problem we had last week. I would try opening the image and then screen sharing.
Yeah. It's only a thumbnail.
All right. Can you hear me this time?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, it's open, so I'm gonna try sharing again. You see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I found a ton of these the other day. Yeah, I don't, what do you think? Anybody know what this is?
Are they stinky or do they have an odor?
They didn't really smell like anything.
Slimy?
Well, it was hard to tell because it rained. So I don't, you can see that they're wet, but I don't know if they're always like that. There were tons of these in one of my clients' backyards in the woods. It was all hardwoods, beech, tulip poplar, birch. I mean, they kind of resembled some kind of rustler or something. They did not exude any latex at all.
Yeah,
they had like a kind of a cream spore print.
Can you blow them up a little bit?
Yeah, sure. And there's striations on the caps. Let's see.
Is it like Russula foetens?
Little bumps in the striations?
Hold on. I'm trying to figure out. There's a black bar at the top of my screen that's blocking the thing where I normally zoom in on the mushroom. So I'm wondering how to get rid of this bar. I don't normally,
You might be able to right click the image and have sometimes they have the
Probably a Russula of some kind.
Yeah, my ex-husband used to call us in the smelly Russula group.
Yeah, one of the stinky russulas.
Is it like foetens or something similar to that?
Yeah, there's like 4 different
species.
And I got them on.
Russula grata. That's what Wall surgeon would probably call this.
Russula what? I can't hear you very well.
Grata, Grata.
Okay, I heard you this time. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like your microphone setting is really low, Igor.
No, it's pretty high.
Yeah, you're a little quiet on mine too.
All the way at the max.
Huh.
Okay, we'll listen hard.
Okay, so Russula grata.
Possibly.
Yeah, there's like 4 species. It's what is it? Foentula, fragrantissima. Is that one of them?
Yeah.
Some of them could have
like
been
4 of them. They're hard to tell apart.
Okay.
But they do often have kind of like a stinky almond smell to them.
Yeah.
They did have like a little bit of a smell, but it was so it was barely noticeable, and I couldn't really tell you what it was. But that's interesting. I'm probably going to go back to this spot because I find chanterelles in this spot. So next time I'll pick one up and see if it smells like almonds.
It's interesting you say that because I find these types of stinky russulas where I pick chanterelles a lot too.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to this spot the other day. It's a private property, and it was just a couple days ago, and there were only a few chanterelles, and they were really, really tiny, too tiny to pick. So I'm gonna have to go back like a week later or something. But there were tons and tons of these things in all different, ages. You can see there's some that are really young and then some that are older. So it's kind of neat to see them.
The smell changes as they get older, and it really is foul.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll check them out again. All right. Thanks, everybody.
I've
Thanks,
just
Lauren.
changed the setting on my computer. Is that better?
No, still the same.
Because I switched to the headset microphone.
No, still the same, Igor. We can hear you. It just sounds quiet.
Okay, I'll try to just speak up next time.
Okay, so after Lauren, it was Mintari.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Mintari.
I have some mushrooms that I believe everybody in this group is familiar with. But this is it was a great experience for me because of the amount of mushrooms that I found that that I had never seen in my life.
Well, let's see them.
I thought I shared. Hold on. Why is it pointing? It keeps pointing to my Dropbox. Can you see it?
No.
It doesn't look like you've actually started to share your screen yet, Mintari. Okay, now your camera's on.
I want to share my screen, not my camera.
So it should be a green button in the lower center.
Yes, yes.
And you click on that and it should open up a
Yes,
bunch of.
the little dots. So hold on 1 second. Let me maximize this. Yep. It says press escape to double. You see it?
Negative.
No, negative. Oh, this happens again. So hold on.
Would you like to email them to me, Mintari?
Yes, I'll email them to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Go to the next people.
Okay. Bianca, do you want to show now? Or do you want to go at the end?
Yeah, okay, I can do that. Let's see. I will have to grab them really quick. I wonder if I can share them directly from Google Photos. That might be convenient. Let me try it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so this is in my backyard, and I believe it is a Arusula. And I will get the other side. And I have lots of them. So if you tell me they're edible, guess who's having good dinner tonight?
They're definitely russulas.
Everything is edible once.
Yeah, I think those are Russula modesta.
No, it's not.
You don't think that's modesta? Why not?
It's a blue-green Russula. Modesta is all kind of greenish gray.
Yeah, well, that's what that looks like to me.
Well, Modesta doesn't have the that disc. It's more.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does
maybe,
sometimes.
Maybe we
Yeah,
have
let
different
me
concepts
look in a
of,
book.
Modesta.
I think that's modesta. But it's kind of a lost cause trying to argue about Russula ID based on color of the cap. But Modesta has a bloom too. That looks like it has a bloom. Has like a
I don't think so.
flowery coating, sort of.
Who in the club has the Fado Kibbe book for sale? Are there extra copies somewhere? Bianca, instead of having
Yeah.
to look at Rusula's by sight, you just can't do that. You've got to do all the characteristics, and you really need to have a microscope.
Darn.
Otherwise, there's maybe 10 that are easy to identify
Yeah.
on site, but that's it. So
You need melters also.
yeah, so just
All
be
right.
happy with that. It's a Rusula, and that's it.
That is probably about right. I would agree with that.
I have a whole box of those things, the Ray Fado things. Books.
That's
Who's
Nina.
talking?
Yeah,
That's Nina.
yeah,
Oh, okay. So they're for sale, right?
yeah. I'd like to get rid of them. I got a whole, I got a lot of them.
All right. You probably should bring him to the next foray.
I actually did, but I forgot to take them out.
All right. Do you see this other one? I believe it's a
Yeah.
type of puffball.
Yeah, it looks like Lycoperdon marginatum. Are the spines really pretty tall and pointed, and some of them are joined together tips?
I think this is
Need a
related.
closer. Yeah. I get margin. Yeah, that looks like marginatum. Yep. See how some of the tips are joined together here and there.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah, I think I see them. I see the.
Yeah,
yeah,
Lycoperdon
here.
marginatum.
So, what was the genus, please?
Lycoperdon.
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 D-O-M and Lycoperdon species.
Marginatum, like margin of a book, and then A-T-U-M.
Marginatum, like this?
Yeah,
D-O-N, not M.
D-O-D-O-N,
oh yeah, D-O-N, yeah.
got it. Okay, sounds good.
By the way, Lycoperdon in Latin means wolf fart.
Say it again.
I'm screaming at the top of my lungs.
Oh.
Lycoperdon in Latin means wolf fart.
Wolf fart. Yeah.
Yes.
Why does it have a smell? This, it might help you with bringing the microphone closer to your mouth instead of having to yell of your.
Nothing has
mouth.
changed. I have a headset. It's
Oh.
nothing
Bianca,
computer
I
or-
think that is referred to the way they release the cloud of spores, not the
Right.
smell.
Okay.
Because there is one
Oh,
in my
okay.
country, there is one of the puffballs, they call it witch's fart. And it's the same thing. It's a different puffball, but it's just the way it release the cloud of spores. A
They're
puff.
very unique
You
with
know what
their.
I mean? A puff.
Gotcha. Now, does this get much bigger?
They're small.
Okay.
They might be 2 inches sometimes.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, let me see if I have. This looks like
Now-
this is another one of similar to the one that I had in the yard. I think it's the same same species. What was it again? The Rusula, potentially.
Well- I thought Modesta, but that might not be right.
So you know what I did, Bianca? In the chat, I put a link in there to a website called Rusula News.
Ooh,
And that key that they were just talking about, that you can buy a hard copy of it, that's also on there as an online kit.
that's fantastic. All
I had
right.
trouble accessing that last week.
I can't get at that. That thing doesn't seem to load.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
it used to load.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice, but it didn't look, I used it all the time and relied on it. But it hasn't worked recently.
Okay, sorry, I'll stop sharing it then.
But
Well, it looks like,
There might be other information on there though that you can, you might learn something about russulas on there.
online synoptic key to North American russulas. So let me click it real quick just for curiosity. Yeah, it's an error. It gives me an error message in Spanish.
Italian.
Italian? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not good with languages.
You want to buy the little book?
Got it. All right, let me get back to the photos. There's one particular one. I have a bunch of pictures of mushrooms, but there's a particular one I want to get to. So just ignore a bunch of these. And if you think you know them as we go by, feel free to yell it out. This looks similar to the ones that you were sharing, Lauren. There were a bunch of these as well. Sorry, this guy. And they did have a smell, but the one I want to get to is, oh, that was a cool one. That's a bolete. No, that's a, oh, no. Oh, this one. All right. So let me zoom out. Nope, not that. There we go. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
So this is quite a lot of fungus. It definitely had a very unique smell. Like it would, before I even got to it, I could smell like a mushroomy odor or like a murkiness to it.
Yeah.
And then, so here I have the underside on top, and you can see these are enormous with my hand next to it.
The smell might have been because it looks a little old.
Yeah, it's old.
Stained black.
It didn't seem to stain at all.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a piece of
The
it.
stain takes a while to set in sometimes. It has to be handled.
Yeah, you can see the darkening on the pores there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Maripilus substenii.
The
Yeah.
black staining polypore.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's already typed it in the chat.
Yeah, well done. All
Well,
right.
it's pretty distinctive, sort of, although it doesn't usually look like that.
Yeah,
Well,
look at this.
the fronds can be big or not as big. People sometimes confuse this with Grifola frondosa. People around here sometimes think that they have found hen of the woods, Grifola frondosa, in July, and it's inevitably going to be this.
Right. That's a common, that's a common thing every year on Facebook. I've been trying to quell it on our own page.
Okay, so Maripilus substenii. Okay.
Sumstinii.
Yeah, the last two letters are EI.
EI. Okay, got it.
Common name, easier, black staining polypore.
Black staining polypore. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, and all old books will be Polyporus gigantea. Is that what it used to be?
Yeah. A long time ago, that might still be that in the Audubon.
Yeah, I think
Giganteus. Yeah.
Gigantea is a European species.
Oh, stop on that Lepiota, the
This one?
chlorophyllum molybdites. You had a green spored Lepiota went by.
Let me know. This guy?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like it's the green spored Lepiota.
On a lawn. It's on a lawn, right? Yeah.
Lawn, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the skills look kind of dark. Yeah, that's what
I
that
never
is.
see that here.
Yeah, causes some of the most poisoning cases in the United States. People think it's the parasol mushroom.
You don't want to eat this.
No.
This will make you really sick.
Oh, I don't plan on it, but I just thought how gorgeous and enormous this thing was. This was bigger than my hand. I wish I could take a picture with my hand next to it.
The spore print is a beautiful greenish color.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I see this often near me in what's the park name? Gene, where is it? Oh, he's not listening. It's the reservoir that's near me. I have to remember the name. Manasquan. Thank you. Thanks, Igor. Yeah, Manasquan Reservoir. I often see these very large ones, and this is the chlorophyllum
molybdites.
Igor put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Mushroom in New Jersey that if you get enough rain, it'll come up about this time of year.
And is it usually this big?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody?
It can appear just maybe 2-3 hours after the rain. It grows very fast.
Oh, also before I forget, again, ignore a bunch of these photos. Yes, this
Oh,
is.
oh, 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 that's a bullet.
I know it's a bullied, Igor. Do you want me to stop, or do you want? There's one particular one I wanted to show if Virginia's here for
I
her.
can tell you what this one is that you just showed.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I know this one.
What do you got?
This is Boletus olevisporus, olive spored bolete.
Yes, that pine.
I'm going to type it in.
Oh, so it actually has olive spores. And how do
Yeah.
you distinguish it between the other boletes? What are the particular features that you can see in it that?
It only grows in the pine barrens.
Okay, so it grows.
And it stains red, and then stains blue, and then the bluing turns to brown.
Yes, that's true. It does do that.
And the stipe is originally yellow with red, and then it just uniformly turns brown from bottom to top.
Yep.
So it often has 3 colors together: yellow, red, and brown. And it's only known from the coastal plains of New Jersey and basically along the coastline all the way to Florida and maybe even Texas. So you will never find it, outside of the coastal plain. It's associated with the pine exclusively, and it's kind of early for it. Usually we find it like in August and September.
Yeah, it was the only, these are two separate mushrooms. I have one that's whole and one that's cut next to it. But those were the only two that I had seen. And what was this one called? So Bolita. Oh, good. Thank you, Igor. You're ahead of me. All right. So there's one I wanted to get to. Is Virginia here tonight? I don't see Virginia on.
Here.
You are here.
She's there.
Cool. So the one that I found with that I wanted to show you that was on the moss. I took a picture of it and I found it, and you weren't able to see it very well. Again, ignore a bunch of these. Let's see what I can. Oh, this is. I have to send this to you, Luke. These are the pictures from the end of our meetup. They're really good pictures. I appreciate.
Stop a minute so I can see this.
Yeah, go ahead. So,
Is this from this past week?
Yes, it is.
This was the diehard crew, the ones that were still there at 2:00.
Yep.
Okay.
So he took 3 pictures. It looks like we were all smiling and not blinking in all of them. So I can send all 3 of them to you. I'm sad that I didn't get the large group of all of us going, but yeah. So let me see if I can. I wanted to get a particular. So these were all just for everybody's maybe viewing pleasure. I will go slightly slower through these photos so you can kind of see what we had found. That's Asha playing with a frog. So these were all the classified mushrooms on the table. There was some on the next to me. I have a couple of shots of our buddies observing. Let's see.
Your identifiers is what you mean.
Yeah, identifiers. Thank you. Let's see. So then that was not a mushroom, I know. Oh gosh, all the memories coming back. How do you like this one? This gorgeous jelly one. All right, moving on. Some of them are upside down. I was given these chanterelles and I ate them for dinner one night, and I was super excited about it. Cooked it with butter and they were just delicious. I shared it with a couple of friends. They were unsure at first, but I assured them that the experts had identified them for me, and we enjoyed them very much.
You fed them to friends?
Yes, I did.
Oh, now that one, that little amanita, I would call Banningiana. Banningiana.
Yeah, Banningiana.
Yeah, I think we did identify that as that.
Right.
New Jersey 16.
So again, here's the one I wanted to show you, Virginia. So this is the one that was on the moss. I cut a piece of it off.
Okay, that's the radio mixer.
It's the same one that you had, right?
Probably, yeah. I had several, and I think somebody else gave me some, or I think you gave me some. But that's PTO Mixa fruticulosa.
Okay, all right. Let me put that in the. That was quite an interesting one. Well, do you mind?
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Bianca, you should get the Barron book. Do you have it?
No,
It's
I
the-
don't.
It's the one fungus book. It's very inexpensive. And it's the one book that's got slime molds in the beginning.
It just went by there was a picture of it on the table that just went by
Okay. Let me see.
years ago.
Let me go back. I'll get the picture of it. Let me see if I can go back to it.
Yeah,
There-
my books were on the, that's my book right there.
There it is, right there.
This is the one you're
That's it.
suggesting.
No, the orange one.
Oh,
The one
no.
with the orange hygrophorus.
Oh,
No, you've gone by.
Yeah, go
Oh,
back,
I'm
go back,
sorry.
Bianca.
I'm sorry.
The table shot.
Right there.
Okay. Oh, I see it. My chat was covering that. I apologize.
Upside down, but there it is.
Okay, I see. All right, so now I know what to look for. These two books, basically, you're saying.
Well, and you should have this one that's way over on the left, Timberoni's Mushrooms of Northeastern North America or whatever.
Would you be mad if I enjoyed collecting them and enjoyed you guys doing the identification for me?
Well, but then you don't learn anything.
No, I do. I do learn something, but it's harder for me to learn from the book than it is from.
Like I said, you have to
I get used to it.
thing that you've collected and then read the description.
The Baron book has keys to each group. And if you start using
Right.
those keys, you get familiar with terminology and, you know, even though the mushroom might not be in there, it's a good book to have.
Okay. All right. I'll try not to get overwhelmed. So let me see now. All right.
Right.
So then there was.
We should probably move on now, Bianca, to the next
That's
person.
fine. All right. I'll stop sharing.
Cool. Thank you.
Luke,
Yes.
I'd like to inject here that when it comes to taking pictures of people, you should really ask people. I know you did with the group picture, but make sure that they want their photograph taken, because there are a few members in our club who do not want their photographs taken. So just ask before you take a picture.
Makes sense.
Yes. Thanks, Nina.
Yeah.
As you did.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so I am going to start sharing from this list of people. Sue, you are the first one to email me this week.
Am I really? Wow. Well, I saw a lot of things this week, but I just picked out a few to be able to show you. Some of the ones that I had better pictures of. I don't think talking about the Amanita banningiana, it got often called this, which is Amanita jacksonii. This is a little bit more northern kind of thing, but it's the lookalike for the Amanita caesarea of Europe. And the Canadians eat this. I have this in my refrigerator and I'm not going to eat this. But anyway, so it's a beautiful mushroom with a beautiful, that's pretty true color. And there's another picture of the underside of it that I took later in the day at home. But that brilliant yellow of the gills, the stem, and the partial veil that has dropped is really striking. There's nothing else that looks like this once you've seen it. And interestingly, I had not seen this, and two young fellows where I was doing a walk caught me before I left and said, and they had this in their hand. It was exciting. So they took me back to the spot, and the thing had toppled over. It was so heavy. So anyway, I have not ever found it myself in the woods, other than somebody pointing it out, or in the case here, these young fellows took me back to the spot. Beautiful mushroom. Okay, next one was Igor. This is the underside, and the top on this one, which is the next picture, is a little bit more rosy, but I'm calling this Chalicoporus pseudo-rubinellus.
The Rubinellis are pseudo.
Yeah, I agree also.
Yeah.
Usually with
Ruben-
conifers.
Yes, that would have been the case here.
Spruce, I find it under spruce.
This would have been red spruce probably here. Yeah, is that right for pseudo-rubinellus?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and also
Yeah, I
that's
think
about
so too.
3 inches across. So that's, the other thing that was, and I
That's a big one. That's a
Yeah,
big
well-
one for
Yeah,
this
that's a
species.
big one. They're not particularly large. None of those Chalciporus mushrooms.
All right, I wondered about that because, yeah, I found another one day before yesterday, also big, but we've had kind of a lot of rain and sometimes they, really
Yeah.
come up quick.
Just a quick comment that these are kind of primitive. They are at the basal clade of Boletaceae. So these are the early divergent species, or I should say genus in the Boletaceae. They have small spores and maybe they're not even mycorrhizal. But who knows?
Really?
Yep.
So they diverged on the evolutionary tree as one of the first boletes.
Yeah, not as ancient as Parasiticus, but right there.
Well, this year I've already seen it in 2 different places. Actually 3, it's kind of in my front yard too.
Yeah, we don't find Chalciporus in New Jersey very often. Usually it's Piperatus that we find, not these guys, I think.
The weather has to be just right up here and it has been in the last week or so. Okay, Luke, I think I have another email with, oh yeah, sorry. My very first this year, Hypomyces lactiflorum. Yeah, it's pretty ratty looking, but that's kind of how I like it. This particular one is in the woods kind of next to my house in the back. I call it my backyard, but the slugs have been doing a number on this because we've had showers a lot. But some of you know I like to peel off the outer orange part of this and dry it and use it for dyeing wool. So I was checking, it's now the right time of year for me to find it. I can find a lot back here. Yeah, thank you, Igor, because I have trouble spelling this. Okay, and then I have another few just to run by you. Right. I think I learned this originally as what? Hygrophorus marginatus? Now it's Humidicutus marginata. This one being orange. And this I've seen a couple times in this last week. And then the next picture is the yellow form of the same thing. Beautiful, beautiful mushroom. You can't mistake what it is.
Yeah, I think this yellow one is concolor.
Well, but a variety concolored, still Humidicutus.
Yeah, Humidicutus.
And there's also
variety concolor.
concolor.
And the other one, there is a name for the pinkish, sort of amber pinkish one, and I forget. It's a relatively new name for the variety. I just don't remember it offhand. I'd have to look it up.
So for those who are not familiar with the genus name, these are the wax caps, formerly in Hygrocebi.
Yeah, right. Right. Usually kind of fragile. And in this case, the color of the gills is very distinctive.
You get that under hardwoods?
No. If it was hardwood, it would have to be birch.
That's where I usually find Humidicutus. Oh, actually in Maine, I found it under conifers, right? I'm one of the nymph.
Maybe it's not picky. So do we think it's
Yeah, it's probably not.
We don't know. Okay. And then what's, another beautiful bolete is the next thing. Yeah, I couldn't get a good picture of it in the woods, so I put this one up. I took it at home afterwards. But this is the Haria chromapes with the bright, bright yellow base of the stem. And it's a beautiful, beautiful pink colored cap. And got kicked around. I learned it originally as, I think, Tylopolis chromapes. Oh, you've spelled it better. Yeah. And then it went to Lexinum chromapes. And now Roy Howling created a genus, well, for this and probably others, after his father-in-law, Harry Tears.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful mushroom. And I've seen this in 2 different places already this past week, not close together at all. So it seems to like whatever the weather is.
It's a coniferous.
Do you find that with hemlock?
There would have been hemlocks in both places, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, see, I'm almost all conifer where I am. I'll have to look in the first place I saw this particular collection.
But it can also grow with pines because we do find this occasionally in the pine barrens.
Yeah, we used to find it in New Jersey once in a great while.
Yeah,
which is how I learned it at all. And then and then there's this funny bolete. This is the one that I don't really know what it is. It's this kind of slightly bumpy on the top. The underside is it's young, obviously, but the pores are kind of white to almost a greeny beige color. But it's the reticulation at the bottom of the stem, Igor, that really threw me.
Any blue staining at all?
Yeah, it
No.
would be,
When you rip the pores off or anything? Because it looks
No.
like subcerulescence.
yeah, I would say the same thing. I think.
Yeah, okay. I just looked in my guide and subceruleans, you'll have to type it.
It's a hemlock associate. I'll type it
Okay,
in. Yeah.
okay. So you're pretty sure that's probably what this is, right?
Yep.
I found it with other conifers also, but usually hemlock. Actually, the best place that I know locally for subcerulescence, it doesn't come out every year, but when it does, there's a whole lot of it, is a single smallish white pine mixed in with oaks. And it's clearly because of the pine.
So it's
no hemlock in this other spot.
It's a
that I'm
porcini,
talking about.
and it actually comes from a very small clade of porcini. It's a relative of the European, what is it, Boletus
Pinophilus.
Pinophilus. Thank you, Dave. Yes.
Yeah. We also have Pseudopinophilus, but I think that's more of a southern species.
Yeah, I
in
did
North
taste it
America.
and it was mild.
These are excellent edible. Subcerulescens is an excellent edible.
The only place I've seen this with a confirmed ID was up in Canada at their exhibition, which was in September. So that was another thing that kind of surprised me seeing it now. But we've had quite a flush of boletes up here lately, just in the last week and a half or so, which I hope continues. The other day, I was at Black Pond, which is in the Paul Smiths area. I must have seen at least 30 Boletus subvolutipes. I had to kick myself to not photograph every one of them. They were so beautiful. And I think that's it, right, Luke?
Yes, that is it.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to get this one identified.
Cool, thank you, Sue. Okay, Dorothy.
I just I just have some photos of some of the things we collected in Horseshoe Bend on the foray. Everybody was collecting. This is the pale jelly roll, Ductifera palulahuana. And I was reading in mushroomexpert.com that in 1893, Patulard originally collected the type specimen, excuse me, in Ecuador. Now, how do I get rid of that? I've got.
Do you want your next picture, Dorothy? Is that what you're asking for?
What's that?
I'm sharing your photographs. You need me to?
Yeah, but I
advance?
touched something and I can't get rid of it, so I don't even see my screen anymore.
Oh, sorry, I can't help you there.
Rats.
So is this a jelly fungus or what?
Yes, so pale jelly roll.
I've never seen this.
Ductifera. I can't seem to get rid of. All right, sorry, got it. Got rid of it. It's just was everywhere. Next.
So yes, Sue, it's like a big gelatinous mass.
I don't remember ever seeing this.
That's interesting because it seems to be really common around here, but
Lately, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't remember it at all in before.
I I've been-
2015.
Okay, that's interesting because I always felt the same way. I've been mushrooming like seriously for about 10 years. And I only ever started noticing this in the past couple of years, but it seems really common. Seems odd that I wouldn't have noticed something that common earlier.
The other jelly that is super common, at least killing or on my dead elms, is that now I just drawn a blank. It's that polytricha, auricularia polytricha.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Does anybody know about like the substrate specificity of this fungus? Like, do you know, does it like hardwoods or like conifers? Are there any particular genera that it prefers?
Well, it was all hardwoods where we were.
Yeah, I always see it on hardwood.
Do you suppose it's one of those things that's creeping up from the south as it gets warmer?
I found this on tulip poplar yesterday.
Yeah, it's possible. So, I mean, it seems like there's some consensus here that people haven't noticed it until the past few years. It would be interesting to look at like older records, like older guidebooks. It's not really in any of the older guidebooks that I can think of.
We recorded it on a foray for the first time in 2008, so it is fairly recent.
We found Stephen.
But we,
Yeah, I can't imagine that we would have missed something like this years ago.
Next.
yeah,
Next, there you go.
All right, this is kind of on its side. And you're seeing the pore surface mostly. And Lauren Francis actually collected this. And you must have found it, I think, the week before. Metuloidia fragrans, but the old name is Antrodiella fragrans. And it got moved to the Steckerinaceae in 2016. And was ID'd by Maricel. An interesting odor. Everyone was saying smelled like cinnamon, but it was a sweet odor. And Susan can back me up here because I know some of the tooth fungi, there's one that's kind of like a fenugreek odor. And this thing really has a fenugreek odor. And I looked that up. The seeds and the leaves have a chemical called SOTOLONE. And they say that it has that maple syrupy smell. But well, anyway, it's certainly a nice sweet smell. And I was tickled because I had never seen it before.
Don't they say it's the same scent that's, they call it coumarin.
That same odor, yes.
That odor, they say, because that coumarin shows up in plants. They use it to make a medicine.
Right.
But that's how I always read this being associated with this coumarin. But I don't know what that smells like, so I always say cinnamon.
Dorothy, does it mean that now it's called Stecherinum fragrans?
Pardon?
Is it called now Stecherinum fragrans?
No, it's Metuloides.
Oh, okay, Metuloides.
It was in Stecherinum for a while. Like I think it got shuffled from Antrodiella to something in Stecherinum, but Django Grootmeyer told me that all of those Stecherinums that had the cinnamon smell have been moved to Metuloides.
Okay.
Right.
This is another one of the interesting ones that we seem to find it really commonly now, but I think John and Nina and myself found this in like 2017 or so in Pennsylvania, down in Kennett Square. And we actually had I got it sequenced by Lee Varden over in Europe. And it was only the third occurrence in the United States at that point. The other two occurrences were down south, like Virginia and Florida, that we could find on GenBank. And I see this like all the time in Philadelphia anymore.
Another one creeping up from the south, huh?
I want to say one more thing, may I? Okay, so there is one kind of polypore kind of. It's called Stecherinum arawakensis. And it has a very nice smell too, but that one has teeth. And I think that is sometimes confused with Metuloidea fragrans, the one that we're talking about. And I
But-
thought that I heard that they belong to the same group.
Yeah,
no?
that's a Metuloides now too.
Oh, yes, you said
Right.
that. Okay.
It did say Metuloidea, the genus, it could have pores or teeth.
See,
But-
okay, one has pores and one has teeth. Yes, yes.
But Tom Bigelow told me that the subwacances that they're finding in New York when they're sequencing them are not matching up with anything. So he thinks they're undescribed.
Oh, we found it in Helmeta last time.
Yeah, I just found it about a week ago in Philadelphia too. I saved some
Araquense?
specimens.
The subaraquense?
Yes.
Wow, cool. Okay.
All right. This is a cool one. This one's worth learning
Next.
for the smell, if nothing else.
Right. And I'm not sure, maybe Bianca collected this, but I knew it years ago as Erasmi Ellis nigripes, and the name has changed to Tetrapyrgos nigripes. And interesting, tetra of course means 4, but I was trying to figure out what Pyrgos meant. And when I looked it up, there's a couple of towns actually in Greece and another country, and Pyrgos actually means tower. So the spores, if again with mushroomexpert.com, the spores are either 3, 4, or 5 pointed, and some of these towers in these towns probably have points on them. So it's found without any basal mycelia, directly attached to the leaf litter or twigs. So it's a lovely collection. Not by me, but someone on the Horseshoe Bend foray.
Oh my goodness, I had to put my hands on
was
that one
me.
for the spores.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
if you find
thanks.
another one.
Ooh,
They're-
next
they're
time. Yeah.
beautiful.
It seems abundant. We have found it many times.
Yep.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yep.
So this last picture, and you can see from the top specimen how deep this bracket is and thick at the top. When you looked at the pore surface, which was very maze-like, I recognized that, but I never recognized this tiered shape on this top specimen. If you scroll down a little, yeah, you see how thick it is right here. So it threw me for a loop. And then at the end of the foray, I was looking at the tables. Oh, I did it again. I just lost my screen. Now I got it out of the way. So if you then scroll down to the lower one, I found a different specimen. And that was more typical, very, very zonate and very, very hirsute or hairy. And this specimen had also the maze-like structure and very little poroid near the margin underneath. And those are typical signs of Serena unicolor. And the common name for this is the mossy maze polypore, but it's really not, if you find an old one, it's really not moss on top. Most of the time it's just a green algae that's coating the hair surface if it's been around a while. But Serena unicolor, and I can type that in the chat. So
We should have known that the other day.
yes, but it was that first specimen that
Yeah,
threw
but-
me for a loop because was
It's
so
young.
bumpy
It's-
and thick on top.
Yeah, but when it's young like this, I would have been thrown too, but I see this a lot up here where I am, but usually when it's a little bit further along, and it's very distinctive when it's more mazed and fuzzy on top, and yeah,
Yep.
it's And as I remember, it's hardwoods.
Great. Well, thank you, Dorothy.
I'll put that in. Oh, someone has. Igor's put it in the chat. Serena Unicolor. Thank you, Luke, for sharing.
You're welcome. Okay, Marisol, you're up.
Okay, let me switch. 1 second. Let me put this here, full screen. All right, I'm all there. Okay. So this is also from our foray. I didn't go too far. And then in the middle of the woods, there were 2 piles of horse dung. And there were so many things growing on it. My photos are really bad. I couldn't do better than that. So what's the name for this one? Sacobolus minimus. Okay, I could not take a photo. I just take this photo of the pile of dung. What is in the center is another species that I found, okay? But go to the little drawing that I did. This is what I saw. There was a super tiny fruit body, like a little ball kind of, or a kind of a cup kind of, and kind of gelatinous, light color, clear, and it has this ashy sticking up in the position that I am showing there, full of black spores. I don't remember how many are in there. So I posted with a Ascobolus, and somebody corrected me and called it Sacobolus. There is a gentleman from Germany. He works a lot on all sort of dung, herbivores dung. So he corrected me. And then I looked for the microscopy of the Sacobolus, and I found that it was this one. Can you show the micro, please? And this one has, oh, and then I learned that there are several species of Sacobolus. They don't have hairs around the caps. And each species have a different arrangement of the spores. And I was really thrilled by the way the spores on this one were arranged, because there are 4 spores in the front and 2 on filling up the spaces between these 4. I can explain that better. In a very perfectly symmetrical order. And the yellow is the paraphysis. This is in water, so you can see the real color there. Although the spores look lighter, they're kind of darker. Right.
Marisol, if I could add, they sort of look like they're stacked almost like a chain if they were kind of like linked together, except minus that end piece of the link. So it would be 2 this way, 2 this way, and then
see,
2.
There are 4, and I can't explain. I got better photos. In the lower left, you can see that there are 4 in the back, 2 in the front, and 2 on the other side, all in perfect symmetry. And when I went to the other species, they didn't have this symmetry. They have different arrangements. That was incredible. And I didn't know anything until I learned about it. And can you show more photos, please?
Is there a name for that way the spores are arranged in the ascus?
When I was reading, I only found that they were talking about symmetry. There must be some more specialized vocabulary, but I don't know it. They were talking about the symmetry. That's all I can say. Okay, so you can see that the ascos, the asci are like bananas, kind of little shorter bananas. And the fruiting body is right here on the left. It's made out of globose structures. This is in water. And yeah, can you pass? Okay, you can see other photos about the symmetry. It depends from what side, and that's a pretty bad one. That's a pretty bad one. Okay, right here. It depends. Oh, here they were falling apart. They were out of the ascus, so they were spreading. So, but still, I was impressed by that perfection of being together like that. And the shape is like asymmetrical. You can see that one side has a bump, and the other one is less pronounced. And the ends are kind of, one is kind of truncated. I got more photos, please. Oh, the symmetry there, yeah. So two are, yeah, I said that already. Same thing about the symmetrical arrangement.
That's it.
Yeah. All right.
Marisol, basically, when you look at this arrangement sideways, there'll be 3 layers of spores. 2 at the top. 2 at
Yeah,
the
because
bottom,
there will be
4 in the
2 in the sides and
Yeah.
4 in the middle, but oh, I can't explain that. I can't explain.
Marisol, I think I understand how they lay around. There are
Yes.
3 layers.
Okay.
The middle one is 4, and then you have 2 above and 2 below, directly
Yes.
below each other. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, if you looked at it from the end, you would see a T or a cross. Yep. Yeah, the way Bianca's holding her hands up.
Yeah.
Yes, like that.
And it's funny because there is a lot of space in the ascus. I have no idea why it is like that. Yeah. But it was so thrilling to me. Oh, it was so awesome. Okay. I found like 8 mushrooms.
The rest of the ascus might be more or less a space that's filled up with something that helps propel the spores out of the ascus.
Oh, the pressure, the water.
Pressure, yes. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yep. I found like 8 species on this poop, on this horse poop. The second one is another little tiny thing. It's called Sporormiella minima. The other one was minimum, and this is minimum because it's feminine. Same thing, the pile of dung, but it's not there. You can't see it. It's impossible. Can you pass?
Yeah, you know what? 1 second. I'm going to
Go ahead.
let me see. I'm going to mute everyone again, and then you can just unmute yourself, okay?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
I think that's the ice cream truck going by Marisol.
It is.
At Marisol's house.
I'm so sorry. So annoying. I'm sorry. And it sounds so clear. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Pass to the second photo. Okay. So because I never saw this before. I never work on poop because I am disgusted. I got a very keen sense of smell, but I couldn't resist. So when I did the micro, I found these long bananas like as cheap, and I thought I counted the spores individually. So there were 32. And then I put that online and somebody told me, no, they are made out of 4 sections. So in reality, there are 8 spores with 4 segments each. Okay, it's hard to discern on the photo. Yeah.
Like that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Like a link of sausages.
Yeah, very, very tight in between each other. So yeah. You can see one on the lower right, because lower right, this, the 4. Now I see it. Before I couldn't because I had no idea. And can you pass the next photo? And then when I was working on it, this is what I saw. And I thought they were made out of 2 parts. But you can see very vaguely, they have a sheath. You can see it around them. But it's supposed to be the 4 with the sheath. But this was broke up and still have the sheath around them. For some reason, they stayed together because that probably was 1 spore on each of these little groups. You know what I'm trying to say? It's too tricky. One side is more pointy than the other side. You see? One is like truncate and one is pointy like a bullet, kind of.
Yeah, it's very clear on the bottom right one, what you're describing, how flat the 2 bottoms are and a little bit pointier. I see.
All right. Can you show more? Oh, and then I went to find information and it matches Sporormiella minima, and 2 people from the New York club, they identified as what I am saying. Yeah. And the fruit body is right there. It's this black lump of thing. It's like a little black cup made out of globose structures. And the pink, I use Congo red, and then this is an immature ascus, and then the spores were coming out because I pressed it really hard. The fruiting body was less than 1 millimeter. So imagine I cannot show you that. On the upper left is the fruiting body. And the funny thing is that I didn't even see them when I was getting the sample from the dung. I just saw them on the slide doing the microscopy for another one. So there were like 3 or 4. I still have 2 more that I could not identify. No, yeah, but it was fun, right? All right, this was another one on the dung, and photos are really bad. And it was really tiny, 7 millimeters cap. And it didn't liquefy. It didn't liquefy like other Coprinaceae family. It was very delicate, but this one it dried out on the leaf. What that I used to bring it home, it is there attached to the leaf. And I did the micro, and the spores are a little strange. Can you pass? And it happens that it is a parasola. It's one of the ones that grow on dung. So you can see the shape of the spores look like chickpeas. And I put an arrow on the lower center, lower middle, because that one looks like the Coprinus spores that I have seen other times doing micro. And but most of the spores were like this, that we are chickpea shape. Oh, you can see one on the right side, very clear. No, a little higher, lower, right there. It looks like a chickpea. I put it on a special place in Facebook that is a gentleman who knows about Coprinaceae species. So they said it's a parasola because of the shape of the spores. Then I found that it's Misera variety Misera because the spores are tinier and smaller. And here I got 2 spores that are white. I don't know how they are white, immature or something. And you can see the tip, I forgot the name of the tip of the spore. Apiculus. Oh my goodness, I put it in there.
Yeah, in the coprolite mushrooms, I often see spores under the microscope that seem to be they should be dark and they're not. They just look like an outline that should be colored in.
Oh, yeah,
it seems pretty common across the board.
All right, so that was fun to do too. I couldn't get better pictures than that, but it was fun. So, and then the last one is a Coprinopsis. Oh no, another one is 5. Okay, so this one is Coprinellus. It's a little bigger. The one that I did before is on the upper left and the lower right. It's the one I just showed you before, the variety Parasola misera variety misera. I'm sorry for the photos. This is called Coprinellus, and it forms like a flower. And this one, it disappeared on the leaf where I put it to bring it home. It disappeared. But I got to do the spores. Here is becoming grayish, and then it was only like black lines on the leaf when I had the time to check the spores. That was the only thing left. I could not see any other structure. And there were 2 types of spores. You can see that once the lighter one were bigger. I don't know why. And it has like special structures at the end, at both ends of the spore. Yeah. Oh, and right there is how, when I get the chance to check it out, it was completely gone. Only lines of spores were left on the leaf. The one on the right is the Parasola. Parasolas don't liquefy, but Coprinellus do.
All right, very cool.
One more.
One more.
And then Coprinopsis, still on the same poop. And photo is pretty terrible. But this one was liquid. It was completely liquid. I'm sorry, I couldn't show better than that. The stem was still very fresh. And this was in the like 11 something in the morning. And when I snap it, it was completely hollow and firm. It was very, very firm. I took it home and I did the spores, and they look like the typical Coprinaceae spores, but I don't know the species, but I know it is Coprinopsis. I got some spores, I got some that were light, and I think there are spores there from the other things. And this is pretty bad, but I saw one head that was coming up completely covered with like scales or hair. I don't know what's the right way of saying that for this one, Coprinopsis. I keep seeing that they call it Lanatula, section Lanatula, which means woody, like a sheep, appearance of a sheep, hairy. Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks, Maricel.
All right.
Okay, Dave.
Okay, I'm here. Still awake. Mowed the
All right.
lawn today. Takes a lot out of me.
All right, you want to pick 5 out of here?
Just start on the top. I think I have them arranged. Yeah, so many mushrooms right now. It's hard to pick out what to talk about. Oh, well, I have to talk about this one because it was described by Rod Tulas based on collections made on my property from this same spot where I got this one, these two were maybe about 10, 15 feet away from the usual spot. So Amanita cyclops. It's a section vaginate. It has a membranous basal vulva, no ring, striations, pretty long striations on the cap. And the reason why Rod named it cyclops, and it's not, other people have found cyclops, and that's been verified through DNA, that don't have the really dark disc, but the ones that I find on my property, and Rod came up with the name based on those collections, have this really dark disc, so it looks like a single eye. So this is Amanita cyclops. It's an interesting species, and it's been found a few other places, so it's getting headway in terms of getting promoted from provisional species to full-fledged species. I'm not sure what the technical name would be. Okay, so globose, subglobose spores, they're not that interesting because most section vaginate mushrooms have globose, subglobose spores. We can move on to the next one.
Okay, sorry, I was having trouble.
That's all right. Well, that's a good
picture.
picture of why it's called cyclops.
Right there.
So, yeah, that one right there, right. Looks like an eye, single iris.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I think I've got, here we go. So what do you think, Igor? Any idea? My best idea is some sort of Redibolitus for this thing. It's grown in an open area. There's oak, there's birch, there's no conifers. Oh, maybe a hemlock in the bordering woods. Looks a little bit to me like Redibolitus griseus, but it's small and it doesn't have any reticulations on the stipe. They're pretty interesting. I preserved this one, and I plan on including it in a fundus project.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I would probably say Griseus based on the yellow staining, but it's kind of overexposed, so I cannot judge the color.
Yeah, it does have it did have a yellow base. It does look like Redibolitus griseus, but there's no reticulations on the stipe.
No.
And it's pretty small too. Griseus is usually a fairly good sized mushroom, but otherwise it does look like that. I'd say it's kind of an interesting one. So it was good material. There was no bugs in it or anything. So there you can see it's
Can you
nice
zoom
and
in on
clean.
the? Can you zoom in on the on this picture? I want to see something. Can you get out of here and just click on the picture itself so you can?
The cross section. You want to see the cross section zoomed in?
Yes. For a moment, I thought I saw something, but I don't think it's here. No.
Yeah, there was no staining on the cut context. I mean, a little bit in the base, but that's just part of that yellow pigment.
I was just looking if there was a layer of calocystidium on the pores. It looked like to me. So I was trying to see.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think this is a porcini. No. But
No, that's not. It's not a porcini. It's not a porcini.
The pore surface looked very white, and the pores were tiny, suggesting that they might have been covered by the, by the calocystidium.
Right. It's pretty young specimen. The pictures could be better. I'm going to return to the spot maybe tomorrow. It's an easy enough spot for me to check. It's right in Moon Lake is only a few miles from my house, and the spot where I found this is like right where one spot where I can park my car. So
Yeah,
I'll see if I can find another one.
And it's not a Tilapilus, right, of any kind?
I don't think so.
Mm.
No, I don't think this it's pretty small too.
The
there you
cap
can see.
has a very interesting texture. It's kind of.
The cap has a very interesting texture. Yes, yes. It's an interesting mushroom. I'm stumped by this one.
Yep, and if ITS doesn't give us the answer, we could sequence the other gene or genes and see what happens with it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, I'll try to reserve some. I think I cut it in 2 pieces, maybe 3, when I preserved it.
Well, mycophora would just need a small piece of the cap, with the pore layer. But
right. But I can always hold off on depositing into an herbarium also if I get around to that, which I'm supposed to, and I will. I know the procedure now. Well, at least I knew the procedure, but I can relearn it. For depositing into New York Botanical Garden. So, but anyway, I can hold off on that.
Right.
Yeah, what else do we have here? I think there were so many interesting things. It was hard to pick out what to put on the list. Oh, this thing here. Now, I wanted to post this as Cantharelliaceae, but apparently that is no longer a legitimate scientific classification. It's been merged into Hydnaceae. And so I think this is probably some sort of pseudo-Craterellus, but that name is no longer valid. Now it's Craterellus. So these are pretty interesting. These little things growing in moss. The hymenium is just a sort of a shallowly wrinkled surface. The cap has hairs on it, not a whole lot of hairs. I got spores from these things, and I do have a spore picture. The pictures could be better, but it's so hard to get good shots of this really small stuff. You can see the hairs concentrated toward the margin, but not necessarily right on the margin. There's another picture that shows the hairs. Well, there it looks like they're all along the margin. You can see the hymenium here a little bit better. Just this wrinkled surface. And so this has been preserved. There you can see the hairs, how they're concentrated toward the margin, but kind of peter out, inward, radially. I honestly, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, this looks weird.
Yeah, it looks weird. Yeah. And I'll go out tomorrow and see if there's any more of them. I've listed it as being on my property. It's really like 3 steps off my property, but close enough. So,
are you submitting this to Mycoflora, Dave?
Yeah, I plan to. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I want to include this. I preserved it. The material's in good shape.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one. Never seen anything like that.
No, it's, I looked, I spent like 20 minutes on the internet looking through pictures of what used to be called Pseudocraterellus, and nothing matches really, really well. A pretty strange one.
So it's not in the Michael Quo's website and it's not on Michael Quebec?
No, not unless it's under Craterellus or some other genus, but I think I checked Craterellus on both websites.
Where are you getting Hidnaceae for this?
Because Cantharelliaceae has been merged into Hidnaceae. That was news to me too. I found out when I posted this. Because I had named it. Do you see? In fact, the picture might actually still be named Cantharelliaceae. So that's what I had named it. But Mushroom Observer said, that I was supposed to change to an updated name.
Right. So everything that was all the chanterelles and
all the chanterelles are now in.
Are all in there.
Yeah. Yeah. As usual, you can blame DNA for that.
All right, number 4. Fungi. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Here you go, Lucan. This is something for Lucan Maricel, because you guys know this stuff, and I don't know this kind of stuff very well. This is rubbery. It's like firm and rubbery, and it's on probably a thin stick from an apple tree, I think. And if you zoom in even a little more, you can see it's got this kind of maze-like appearance to it. And I should have brought this in and tried to get some spores off it, but I found it right before we were headed out of town for the weekend, and I found this and I just left it outside. I should go out and see if there's still some out there. Maybe try to get some spores or something. I was hoping somebody might have an idea, but I don't know. This one's kind of weird too.
I think so. It may be Seriporiopsis. No. I know, but I cannot remember the name.
You know what? If you think of it, just send me an email, Marisol. Would you do that? Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Whatever. Yeah, I was hoping, like you or Luke, you guys know this stuff better than I do. So, okay, good. There's not much more to see with this thing, but it is pretty interesting. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, another one not the same stick, but lying on the ground near the same stick. This was from a branch from an apple tree. It had a lot of lichen on it. I can't figure this thing out. At first I thought maybe Hohenabilia, but I did smash mount some gill material and I couldn't find any Hymeneal cystidia. Usually with Hohenabilia, you can find that. So I'm thinking maybe Resupinatus, but I can't find any species that matches this. The spore print was not brown as far as I can tell. It was not a real thick print. So I'm pretty sure we're not looking at any kind of Crepidotus here. The pictures are not great. These are really small. It's just hard to for me to convince my camera to actually.
Dave, I wrote the name on the chat. Ceraceomyces. I'm sorry.
Oh, great.
Ceraceomyces.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, that's a new one on me. Thanks.
Okay.
Ceraceomyces.
What about Carminophyllum?
Oh, was this for this or for that other thing?
No, for the merulioid cross.
Yeah. Okay, Ceraceo.
No, for what you're showing now. Yeah. I wrote it on the chat.
Yeah, these are the spores from the thing I'm saying might be Resupinatus. They're kind of shaped like seeds, sort of.
Did you try Marasmialis candidus? And then there's another one that's Carminophyllum. Trying to.
Yeah, that Marasmialis candidus isn't that kind of like translucent?
Not necessarily, no.
All right, okay, I'll check that.
And there's another little
I
white
know
one.
what you mean now. I know what you mean. I didn't think of that, but yes, that's something to check. Thanks.
All right, cool. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Okay, Noah.
Oh.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, excellent. I have a few things to show off today. They're probably pretty common things, but just some stuff I found while walking recently. Two quick things I wanted to mention. First, I apologize for missing the 4A. Unfortunately, I work on weekends, so I'm probably going to be missing quite a few. And I'm glad to report that I cooked up that chicken in the woods that I found, and it was absolutely fantastic. No stomach upset at all. So this first mushroom I found just in my friend's front yard while I was walking there. There's a group of about 7 to 10 of them growing right next to an oak tree. And from looking at it, it appears to look like a bitter bolete or a red-brown bolete. You can see underneath it, we had a very smooth, very small openings for the pores. I was wondering if someone here who's very good with boletes could tell me if that is a correct identification on this.
It could be, but I just sequenced something last year that looked like Rubra bruneus, and it had a different DNA. So
Really?
There's two of them floating around, and I think this might be the other one.
Okay.
Do you have any clue, Igor, on field characters to separate Rubra bruneus from the imposter?
No, they're both bitter, and what's even worse, that the thing that we called intermedius, the old white thing, actually is just a variation of Rubra bruneus.
Okay.
However, Smith and Thier's intermedius actually is a bona fide species. We have to find an epitope. I'm going to ask somebody on Mushroom Observer from Michigan to look for it for me.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it could be Rubra bruneus, but it could be that other thing.
So Noah, you're doing well to get that close.
Thank you.
That's the upshot of the discussion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what, based on current understanding, this is the name that would apply.
Rubra bruneus usually has a very pallid stipe, not brown, and it gets brown when you handle it. But it looks like this one is naturally brown, and it's even purplish on the bottom. So I think it's. I have a Mushroom Observer post that looks exactly like this, and I sequenced it, and the DNA was different.
I should submit some of the Rubra bruneus that I find. The problem I'm having right now is there's so much rain and dampness that the boletes come up and they're immediately covered with hypomyces.
Yep.
But I've got Rubra bruneus right out here on, well, once again, the spot that's like 2 steps off my property that I go out and get some right now. And I forgot about it today because I was busy doing other stuff, but I should submit some of that to Fundius.
Right. The key feature, I think, of what we understand as Rubra bruneus, it has a white stipe, and once you start handling it, it turns these olive brown color stains. So the color that you see here in the stipe is all natural. It's not due to handling. It looked like this from the get-go.
Yeah, it looks a little bit dark for even. I mean, the Rubra, what I call Rubra bruneus, it doesn't have really a white stipe, but it's paler than this.
It's pallid. Yeah, it's very pallid, but it definitely develops these stains in age or when you handle it.
Yeah.
I think this is the lookalike of Rubra bruneus. I'm pretty sure of it.
Oh, okay.
Does the lookalike have a name, or we got an undescribed species?
I got the sequence. I put it in. There's nothing in Jambank, to my knowledge.
Okay. Interesting.
Cool. Didn't expect to be shown off undescribed species.
Yeah, Tilapia actually is turning out to be a very interesting genus. There's many undescribed Tilapia species in the United States. So look out for these things.
I'll do so. Now, these guys. I am about 80% sure that this is a golden chanterelle and not a false chanterelle. It did smell a bit of apricot. And I was looking at the gills to try to determine if they were real or the fake kind, and I was having a lot of trouble with discerning the two. So are there any tips for discerning between real and fake gills that you could give out?
The false gills, like on the chanterelle, and those are really highly developed. And this is a chanterelle. This is a cantharellus. It's not Cantharellus cibarius though. That's a European name. There's several North American names that have now replaced cibarius on our continent. But boy, those are really highly well developed. But usually, and this can be a little tricky also. When it's true gills, the context that comprises the layer of gills forms a distinct layer from the rest of the cap context. And if you section vertically, sometimes you can see almost like a line differentiating the two types of context.
You can actually see it here. You know, there's like a couple of places where it's been rubbed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like right.
Yeah,
right,
but this one,
right
yeah,
on
this
there.
one's kind of tricky because it's almost looks like a separate layer here
Yes.
as well.
Now, if you scroll, if you put your pointer look slightly to the left, you'll see a bigger area where right
Yeah,
here.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I just said is that might not be all that reliable. Kind of tricky.
Yeah, it really it just takes a lot of handling and experience, Noah.
Okay.
But you did get this right. I mean, this is definitely a chanterelle.
Yeah, and that's a very good question, really, because it's a really good question because there's not any really good answer to it.
Did this in order? Oh, we did. Oh, okay.
All right. So if that's definitely chanterelle, I guess that I will be eating that then.
Bon appetit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't eat them raw. Yep, they should be cooked.
Oh no.
So yeah. I just posted on the NJMA Facebook page a pretty decent article written by, I can't think of the guy's name, from the Asheville Mushroom Club. He was one of the co-authors of the Mushrooms of North Carolina with the Bassettes. He wrote a pretty good article a couple of years ago, kind of summarizing Buick's latest findings on chanterelles and gave some good name suggestions for chanterelles we might be finding in this area. So if you look that up, it's somewhere on the Facebook page in the past couple of days, you'll find some better names in cibarius that might apply to this one.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you.
There's some good names out there. I just haven't learned them yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn them. It's hazy because, you know, I think a big problem is nobody really knows them yet. So if you think you're right, it's very difficult to find somebody to confirm or, you know, or tell you you're on the wrong path.
Luke, you should post that chart or key on our website. Just give it to Sue and she's going to place it in the section where people can find it.
I'm gonna submit a similar chanterelle that I picked this week to Fundus. I think it's worthwhile, you know,
Dave,
submitting some of this stuff for sequencing.
Fundus doesn't sequence chanterelles now.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
What is the problem there?
No, I won't waste my sequence on that one. Okay.
What is the problem there, Igor? Is the primer?
Chanterelles, they require special primers, unlike other, you know, mushrooms, you know, in ITS. So that's what, you know, how they explained it. It's a technical issue.
Are they not looking at the ITS on chanterelles? Is ITS
No, they are
not?
looking at the ITS, except that they require, you know, like I said, the science there is a little bit more complicated to get the sequence out of those things.
Okay.
Continuing with what I thought was the theme of golden, I believe this is a golden reishi that I saw at the base of an oak tree. Ganoderma curtisi, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah, Curtisii,
I agree.
I would say, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
No, that's correct. If it's on an oak tree, looking like this.
Yep. Right below a whole bunch of turkey tail. Just a cool thing that I found while walking. And
Yeah, Ganoderma curtisii. Very cool.
yep. And the last thing that I found is actually one that I cannot identify. I tried, but I was thinking it might be a type of pinwheel, something in Marasmius. If you look at the gills, I believe they're sinuate, and the cap is a little bit depressed. But I just thought that the gills were very interesting looking.
It's not a marasmius. This is some sort of dark sport thing, I would think.
Not,
Did you get a
not
sport print?
marasmius.
Yeah.
Good picture.
The hairs on the one picture you showed, one of the in situs, I think you can see hairs emanating from the margin of the cap surface. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you think it's like a Satharella?
Dave, I don't think these are hairs. These are the oversized.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the gills that
Yeah,
are
it's the
very
gills.
good, Igor.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
turned
Yeah, those
itself
aren't
inside
hairs.
out.
Yeah, those aren't hairs. The gills are just pushing out beyond the margin. Yeah, okay. I don't
Yeah.
think this is Panaeolus phoenisecii, but
Yeah, Paneolina phoenisecii.
yeah, it's not Panaeolus. They put it back. They decided it belongs in Panaeolus, but it might be that.
What was the species name?
In some of the older books, it'll be Satharella, actually. In some of the not as older books, it'll be Panaeolina. But currently it's Panaeolus. But the species name, fortunately, has not changed. Phoenisecii, I think. I think I got that right.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I was definitely curious for that one.
I just typed the name in the chat.
I had 3 New Jersey poison control calls for dogs today, and one of them was this mushroom.
Do they cause a problem for dogs?
Oh, yes.
Or were people just upset about it?
No, they wanted, they contact me for dogs and toddlers and whatever.
Yeah, I understand. I was just wondering, dude, this actually cause an issue with dogs?
I think a dog once got really sick and maybe even died because they ate like a whole lot of them.
Right, that's the thing. You got to eat a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about died, but you know, they say there's this trace quantity of a hallucinogen in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably something else in there then also, and if it's really causing.
So were the dogs okay?
Well, that's the trouble. You get these calls and the person doesn't even know whether the dog ate it.
Right.
Maybe, but so they send the picture anyway.
So doesn't Bill Russell from the Central Mushroom Club, in his book, he says he used to collect these by the basket load and eat them.
Russell used to eat these?
I'm pretty sure in his book, 100 Mushrooms of Pennsylvania, he says that he would collect these off of golf courses as a kid. And he thought they were the best thing ever.
Oh God, off golf courses. Oh man, that's like, why don't you just,
I'm pretty
go
sure
to a toxic dump?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I remember reading that in his book. So I'm not advocating that to anyone. I'm just telling you what I read.
Golf courses look a lot nicer than they are.
Yeah. There's a reason why they look so nice.
Yeah, that's the reason why they look so nice, right?
Awesome, Noah. Nice observations. Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Virginia, you are up.
Okay, this is a moist culture from West
Oh,
Virginia.
you have to go with a little paper bag.
Excuse me 1 second, Virginia. I'm going to mute everyone again, and then you can unmute yourself, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, some chatter going on. Okay, go ahead, Virginia.
Okay, a moist culture from West Virginia, as you can see, it's very tiny. It's about less than 1 millimeter tall. It's a little tiny thin stalk with a little ball on top. Okay, so go to the next picture. Those are the spores, pretty good sized spores for the size of the slime mold. Brown, and that's a little bit of the columella, the capolicium right there. And then the next picture, that's a picture of well, the bottom is just whatever it's growing out of on pine bark. And the top just it shows the stalk and the branches of the capolicium on top, and with most of the spores gone.
All right, everyone got that name there?
Paradiachiops, a big name for a tiny little thing. Okay, this is from Horseshoe Bend. Mary Sell gave me this slime mold with the white heads and the kind of yellowish white stalks, and the heads, the sporoplecas are covered with lime, and if you put it in under a microscope, the lime is granular, which is important to distinguish what kind of lime it is. It has darker brown spore mass inside. Those are the spores, and that's a little bit of the capolicium, which is almost colorless. And there's also a lime node. The capolicium has lime nodes in it, and it doesn't quite show here, but it's sort of yellowish. So that is.
How do you get these excellent photos?
Oh, through the microscope. It's
Oh, is this through like a dissecting scope or something?
a dissecting scope for this one.
Yes. Okay.
For the spores, to measure the spores, I have to put it in a compound scope.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was wondering how you got this photo and the one before it, but you've answered the question. So, yeah,
Well,
those are really nice photos.
Through the dissecting scope.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
And I just go through, one of the eyepieces, and it's probably the camera. It's an old camera, but they seem to come out pretty well. And then for the spores, I have to go up to oil to measure them to get a good size. It's Fisserum globuliferum is the name of that one. Okay, now Liz Broderick gave me this at Horseshoe Bend, and when she gave it to me, it was just yellowish all over. It was just a plasmodium, and Bianca had another piece of it. I don't know if she remembers, and I didn't recognize it at first. I thought it was Fisserum virescens because of the way the yellow plasmodium looked. But when I took it home, and the next day or two, it formed up like this. So this is Fuligo septica. So those two, when they're in the plasmodial stage, can be a little difficult to tell apart, I think. So I like to wait till they form up to something. So that's the crust is limey, and the spore mass inside is dark brown again, and brownish spores. again.
I remember it smelled funky too.
What is that?
I said, I remember it smelled kind of funky too.
Oh, I don't remember that. And that is what the spore mass looks inside of it, with a lot of maybe limey bits. I don't know exactly what forms those. If with some of the crust scraped off, that's what kind of the inside of it looks like when it's mature. That's Fuligo septica.
Are those spores smooth or ornamented? Do you know?
Smooth in those.
Mm-hmm.
I would say those are smooth. And also the last one, I think they were fairly smooth. And this can be various colors, this Fuligo. Maybe a little more beige, or this one was sort of yellowish. Not, it came out yellower in the picture, I think, than it actually is. I think my camera makes things look more reddish sometimes.
What I remember was said about it, it really was flat against the piece of wood. And yeah, dog vomit slime. That's exactly what, yep, there you go. Thank you.
It didn't look like it at first. I was actually fooled a little bit because I told Liz that it was Fisserum arborescens. And so I was wrong. But this is more likely to be on wood, whereas Fisserum arborescens is more likely to be on leaf litter or, vegetable matter of different, and this one is more likely to be on wood. And I'd forgotten that.
Do you find this on wood chips?
I don't know about wood chips.
No, it wasn't on wood chips. It was on very decomposed. It was like cubic decomposing wood.
Yeah, I can see that in this picture. I'm just wondering if Virginia runs into this, because I think I find this like on spread wood chips sometimes.
Yeah, very often on wood chips.
Decaying wood.
Virginia,
Yeah.
why was it turning reddish or orange red?
Well,
Why?
That's partly the camera.
No. In the real thing, when we had it at the identification table, it was yellow and it has, you touched it and it was.
I remember, like, I thought somebody, just handled it or something.
Yeah, and it turned red orange. Why?
On the plasmodium, it was, I don't know why.
Oh, okay. All right.
Very cool.
One more, I think.
Oh, wow. Ow. Ow.
Okay, now Bianca, you might not remember, you gave me a tiny piece of something.
Yes. I didn't know they were red. They were brown to me
They probably were, because you can see some on the edge, maybe have a brownish tint. They probably weren't mature yet. And as they matured, they turned a little bit of a brighter color. So you have to look at things under a microscope really to see them. Because when you showed it to me, I couldn't see anything till I put it under the microscope. So you can see it has a stalk, which helps to distinguish between this and another species. And that one is still kind of has the outside peridium on it, which it loses as time goes on. If you look at maybe the next one. Okay, so when it loses the peridium, it starts to puff out like cotton candy. And that's what it looks like.
I've seen this before. I think you've shown something like this before on this on.
I kind of forget. The most common one is white, is Arceria cinerea, the most common one all around the world. And this is, I guess, fairly common. This is Arceria denudata, as far as I can tell. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish the reddish species. As with the spores, they're about 6.5 microns, and they're smooth, except they have a few dots on them, darker bumps, whatever, as you can see barely on some of them. They have 2 or 3 bumps on them. Otherwise, and they're fairly colorless. Now, I had taken a picture of a piece of that capillicium, but for some reason it wouldn't download onto my computer. I don't know, I'll have to try it again, because the capellicium is also very interesting to look at. So maybe next time I'll have it on there. And I think that might have been the last one. That's Arceria denudata.
Yes, that was the last one. All right, great. Well, thank you, Virginia. All right, and now I am up. So this is the Radiolomyces copelandii. So this is from Horseshoe Bend. So these are one of those hydnoid crusty things that we see growing on well-decayed deciduous wood. So this is the one that has the spines that hang straight down, and they get pretty long. They get a couple millimeters long, sometimes actually, a centimeter or two long, and they tend to have this yellowish tinge to them. And this is one of those transplants that was only discovered here in the eastern United States maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I think Larry Milman found it like up in the Boston Harbor area. And it was one of those big mysteries until Kara Nakasone, the crust lady, she finally figured out what it was, something from Asia. She knew it from Asia, but now we see it everywhere.
I've never seen that. That's really cool photo.
Oh, you've never seen that? It's really common down here now.
Well,
Found that recently, Luke?
Yeah, we found this weekend. This was at Horseshoe Bend.
Oh.
Oops.
The only time I found this is in sort of cold weather, like March, April.
And we also found the cousin of it.
Yes.
Radiolomyces paumanokensis.
The native one, or we think it's native.
From Long Island. That was the first place where they found it.
All right, the next one. Okay, I need help on this one. I don't know what the heck this thing is. This was growing on wood. Of course, I couldn't collect it. I was way up on the side of Haycock Mountain hiking. But they were big. They were 3 to 4 inches at maturity. And it looks like they have dark spores on it, but there's no trace of, at first I thought it was a Stropharia, like a hardy eye or something, but there's no veil on it at all.
Like some kind of hyphiloma, maybe.
Hyphiloma.
But I don't recognize it.
Yeah, they were big chunky things.
So you didn't get any spores from it though, right?
No, I couldn't collect.
Looks like it's going to be dark spored. Yeah, boy, I don't know.
Man, I wish I should have collected it. I was exercising and I had nothing with me. All right. Well, I guess that'll remain a mystery for now. Okay, what else do we have here? So there are tons of these things up there too. It's the only photograph I have. I call it Microglossum rufum. I got that from Messiah. So
that's what that looks like to me. I see that a lot, or well, every summer I see it at least once. Microglossum rufum.
Yeah, so growing like in really well decayed woody humusy material. This looks like it's growing up through leafy matter, but
yeah, that's typical.
And what was interesting, what was kind of cool was, so there were them. I mean, there were hundreds of them everywhere I looked. I was finding them, but they were growing everywhere I looked. They were also growing with these wax caps, which I haven't even tried to identify these. All my books are packed away, which was a mistake. I don't know why I packed all my mushroom books away, but they're in storage. I'm gonna go get them back out. I'm moving for anybody that doesn't realize that, but
You haven't moved yet?
I haven't moved. I sold my house. My settlement's at the end of August, but I was just trying to declutter everything. So I was packing everything I wasn't immediately using, which means I packed almost all my mushroom books. The only ones I saved out were my polypore books, but now I'm finding all this other fun stuff. But anyway, look at the way they were glowing with these earth tongues. But it was like that everywhere. They were like heavily, like, you know, just co-populating everything.
Good picture of the two together.
Oh, thanks.
What kind of habitat look?
Okay, so this was hardwoods, mixed hardwoods. Yeah, mostly oaks and tulip poplars. Those are what mainly dominate this forest.
Thanks.
Yep. And these were just some sort of wax cap. I call it hygroscopy, but I guess it could be a humidicus.
I would start looking at Hygrophorus cantharellus.
Yeah, I think they were kind of big. They were kind of like at least an inch or so across.
Yeah, but they can be that big if they like the weather.
Okay.
Did you smell them?
I don't recall any. I usually smell everything I find.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
there's
recall
something
anything
by the
sticking
name
out.
of, I think it's Hygrocybe reedii. Is a little bit similar to this, but it smells like honey, they say.
Yeah.
Jeff used to call it coal gas.
Well, they are pretty mushrooms. Okay, that's all I really had to share. So we'll stop sharing. All right, so we're just almost up to our very end. Was there anybody else? Oh, I see Will says he has a few. Was there anybody else that asked to share? I can't see the chat while I'm sharing.
Well, no, Luke, I wanted to mention, I think I showed the wrong mushroom for Virginia. The mushroom that I showed, the white one, I had seen that she already had. There was one right after it that I forgot to show her. If we do have time, I'd love to share. If not, that's okay too.
Okay, well, let's let Will take his turn.
Yeah, sounds good. Can I share my screen, or is it easier if I just shoot you an email real quick?
No, if you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, sounds good.
You can do that. That's great.
Get the photos up then. I remember how. I never look at photos on my computer, always on my phone. Yeah, a few of these are slightly older. Like there are one or two that are from June that I could not identify at the time. And then there are another couple that are from this past week. So I'll make sure to note which are which, so there's no confusion about that. But, let's see. Oh goodness. Okay, the June pictures don't seem to be cooperating. I made like a separate album with this stuff, but it's not syncing across my devices. So I'll just show you guys like one or two of the more recent ones that I was curious about. And I think a couple of these might have been from the Horseshoe Bend foray, but I wasn't able to stick around for all of the identification. So you might be seeing something that looks familiar if you were there. But okay, here is, let's see, gotta find it. Okay, yeah, here's one from this past week. This was growing under oak.
So I don't think you've shared your screen yet. Well,
nope, not yet. So, there we go. Can you see that?
Okay, yep, we're seeing your thumbnails. There you go, it's working.
Great. Yeah, so this was growing under oak. And let's see, there were a few of them. You can see there's kind of a partial veil on there. It's like a little bit of a scabby kind of cap.
Inosabe.
Yeah, it's an Inosabe recently split off genera. And Isobaceae
Okay, got
looks
it.
a little bit like unicolor.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. It's very
Got it.
common.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Well, that was quick.
I'm not sure which genus they've got unicolor in now, but in field guides, it's going to be an Anasabi. And in older field guides, it'll be Anasabi, I think Caesarata, I think they used to call it. So like Caesar, Arata.
Gotcha.
Dave,
That would be in very older. That would be like maybe an Audubon or something.
Dave, it's Malasabi.
It's Melasabi now. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm going to
Well,
type
thanks.
it in.
Great, thank you. And then the one other one I had, which was from just like, I think this was yesterday. It was some kind of coprinoid thing. Let me pull that up real quick. And then I'll let Bianca go find her last one that she wanted to share. But this was growing under tulip poplar. And oh goodness, it's not here. Yeah, it hasn't synchronized with my phone yet. So the photo isn't available. So I don't know, I guess I'll bring this next week or something. But yeah, Bianca, you can go ahead then.
All right, cool. Thanks, Paul. Before you go, Bianca, I'm gonna, well, it is 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna say goodnight to everyone. If anybody wants to sign off now, but of course I'll leave it running and Bianca can show her stuff. And I'm gonna walk away. I have to get ready for work. So I'm gonna wish everyone a good night and I will see everyone next week, and everyone can stay on here as long as you want. I'll check on it before I go to bed. All right.
Thank you, Luke. Good night.
Luke.
Yep, have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, let me open it before I share. Let's see if I'm going to get the right one this time. Here it is. All right, and I'm going to share the screen. There it is. So the one that I wanted to share with you, Virginia, is this one. It's growing on moss. I'm assuming it's a slime mold, but I will also, there's a better, clearer picture of this gorgeous shape. It looks like little flowers. So this is the size compared to my little pocket knife. And I will, so there's the zoom in. I use my macro lens to get it. Look at that gorgeous coral-like shape. Would you say this is also a slime mold? Oh, you're muted, Virginia.
Sorry. Serradio mixifruticulosa, again, the poroid form. It's not, it's called, you know, it has a different species name, but the accepted name is fruticulosa, and if you want to call it the poroid form. But they do look like beautiful flowers, don't they?
I want to make sure I get that name down. Let's see.
Okay, I had it on the chat before.
You did? Then I should have it. I copied the chat.
I spelled it wrong the first time. I had to type it over.
CERATIOMYXA fruticulosa, right?
CERATIOMYXA, I think.
Got it. Perfect. So those are the same mushroom, but this is the future form of it, would you call it? The
poroid form.
Poroid.
O-R-O-I-D, poroid form.
And when does this happen?
Don't call it a mushroom.
And when does this happen compared to the other, this, hold on, I have the other picture. Compared to, where's that other one? This one. This is the same fungus, right?
Yeah, it's not a fungus.
Oh. Mold, slime mold, sorry.
Right, yeah, it's not, it's a different form of the same species.
And do you know when one would form versus the other? Why does it do that?
Absolutely no idea, whatever.
That's fair.
The DNA is that makes them form a certain form.
All right, well, that's amazing. All right, well, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to ask that question myself for a while. So another good question, because there's no good answer.
Right.
Understood.
Just
All
like
right.
whatever makes one mushroom or a different mushroom. It's their DNA.
for sure. All right, I think we're done tonight, right? Is that it?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I saw that there was a few books being thrown around tonight. There was Mushrooms of Northeastern North America. I'm probably gonna kill this pronunciation, but mycetes,
Oh,
and the 100 Mushrooms of Pennsylvania. I was wondering what would be good books to start out with if you're just starting to identify mushrooms.
if you want slime molds, this is the one to start with. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. I mean, there's more books than that, but that's the one just to start with. And
All right.
it costs, I don't know, maybe $20 or a little more on Amazon. I forget how much it costs now.
That sounds perfect. I'm looking for slime molds. I'm also looking for a good field guide for edible mushrooms.
If you want to learn edibles, you got to learn the lookalikes and the poisonous ones. You
Of
can't,
course.
you can't just, so a good general field guide. Most of us use several because what one lacks, the other one will have. No book will be comprehensive. Dorothy mentioned the George Barron's book, which Mushrooms of Northeastern North America, I think in Lower Canada maybe, has a beautiful bright orange hygrophorus on the front cover. Some of us still use Gary Linkoff's Audubon Society Field Guide to Mushrooms. Even though it's 40 years old, the information in it is still pretty good. You just have to cross-reference on Google what the current name is if you want to learn it.
Michael Kuo wrote a book about, I think it's titled 100 Edible Mushrooms. So if you're looking for edibles, I think that one is probably going to be a good start for you. Michael Kuo.
Michael Kuo.
Hey, you know.
All right.
Anybody still sell mushrooms in the club? I mean, books in the club? Is there a book person?
Yeah, there's a sort of a book person. Sue McClary inherited all the books from Randy Hamminghouse. And I think we're just trying to get rid of our inventory for the most part.
Yeah, but does that mean, does somebody bring them to the forays to sell?
No, not forays. No, I think we're going to sell them at the Fungus Fest or such, such event. Maybe.
Well, it sounds like Noah needs to maybe get hold of Sue and see if she can list some of what she has and maybe connect.
Nina mentioned she had the books with her, but didn't bring them out. So maybe she has.
Well, that was the Russell book. I don't know if she's got all the other books too. Or
we have several copies. We have several copies of lots of books for people to use at the forays. They're not for sale. But I think the Barron book and Tim Baroni's book, I think you can buy in just in the bookstore. Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
Yeah, Tim Baroni's book is fairly recent, within the last 3 or 4 years. And I like it here up in the Adirondacks, Northern Adirondacks. He's got a lot of things in there that I see.
Right.
So he's got a lot of good information. But I don't know how useful it is down in New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of Pine Barrens, so we got our own little ecosystem going on here.
Now you know which one to look for. The one that I showed that I didn't realize was Pine Barren quality.
What was the title of that?
That was, let me find it again. This, no, not the Modesta. That is this one, Boletus olivisporus.
If you're in the Pine Barrens, you might consider getting. There's a book on mushrooms of Cape Cod by the Bassett's. And that's how we learned a lot of the mushrooms in the Pine Barrens.
And Bill Neal, right?
What's that?
And Bill Neal, there's a co-author.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think another useful book could be the one that's from Texas, because a lot of our Pine Barrens fungi on the coastal plain, they're found in Texas and they just creep up all the way to New Jersey. So you might want to investigate the Texas fungi field guide as well.
Okay. I have like a list of like 10 books now. This should be good. Thank you all.
Ilya,
Some of
can
us
you
have
remind-
about 150 books.
God, I'm so overwhelmed by that, but I'm going to try not to be. Ilya,
Well, I
one-
don't even use them. That's the trouble. Some of them.
I wanted to ask you, can you remind me the name of the yellow Amanita that we found? Was it 54 was the number?
It could be
6.
54 or maybe species 10. They're kind of similar. You
16.
no. No, it's we're talking about a different Amanita. It was not featured today. Liz Broderick actually posted it on Mushroom Observer.
Let me share the screen. This one. Can you see this one here?
Oh, this is Baningiana
What?
Banningiana.
or Beningana. Oh,
It's described for Mary Banning, who was a amateur mycologist from the Baltimore area, late 19th century.
Probably going to spell it wrong. Benning.
No, let Igor spell it.
I'm going to put it in. Hold
Thank
on.
you.
Did Rod finally describe that? Publish it?
I think so, yeah. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's a provisional name.
Yeah, it's been a provisional name for 40 years.
Well, you can find it, you can get a good description of it on his website.
Yeah.
If you just go to amanitaceae.org.
Yeah, I'm gonna publish the link right now. See.
The description.
He has a section for the pine barrens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things with provisional names have very complete descriptions.
Right.
I mean, the things that are on Rod's website.
Do any of you still use Roger Phillips' original book from 1991?
Oh, yeah.
Not very much.
Well, he's got a good picture of this mushroom we're talking about in there without a name, or maybe he does use the Banningiana known provisional.
No, he called it an unnamed species. I remember because the first time I found it, I found the match in Phillips.
Yeah,
And it wasn't named.
we saw it a lot the years he was here photographing it, so that's why he decided to put it in several years.
Just went to the website and it looks like that color is more almost like a beigey color, whereas the one I have is almost like a yellow.
No, it's just older. Yeah, probably got
Yeah,
rained.
yellow brown and tawny yellow, sort of a little darker in the middle.
The disc is more brown, and the
Yeah.
outer layers of the cap, not layers, but areas are more orangish yellow.
If I could recognize it after all of these years and only seeing it coma, trust me, your picture was good enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't see any other Caesars in New Jersey. We don't see Jacksonii. I think Baningiana, or how you pronounce it, is the only section Caesaria we're finding here, other than Spreda. Spreda is gray. But Spreda and Baningiana are the only representatives of that section in New Jersey, as far as I know.
Find it with oak.
Yeah, it's deciduous. And I've never seen Virginiana, even though supposedly it's common in the pine barrens. I've never seen it. But yeah, if you're in the middle of New Jersey, away from the coastal areas, this is what you would find in the deciduous woods, Amanita banningiana.
Very nice. It was very nice meeting a lot of you at this foray. That was, Igor, I didn't recognize you and I apologize for that. I don't think I had seen you before that.
Oh, I usually hide. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll be sending Luke the photo and I hope not to forget. So I'm going to do it as soon as we get off here. So thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Are we done?
I think so.
I think so. I need to head out.
Yeah, nice to see all you guys and talk to you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you all.
Yeah, nice to see him. Good night.
Good night.
Right.